today's talk is, does anybody know what time it is? Oh, no echo. Okay, that was all right. Well, it is time to awaken to the truth of what we are. It is time to shift our paradigms. Now, our paradigm can be defined as a framework that consists of basic assumptions, a way of thinking, a methodology that the members of a scientific community accept. But it's just not a scientific community. It's cultural. We have paradigms in culture, in business, in industries, in our own families, and of course, communities as well. And paradigms are good things. We don't have to think when we wake up in the morning, how do I brush my teeth and get ready for work? That's automatic. We know how to do that. But paradigms have things that are attached to it, such as, this is the right way to do things. Such as, this is the accepted norm. This is the accepted standard. We've always done it this way. And so when we talk about shifting paradigms, we're looking at, are there ways for us to see the world anew? To see the world anew. Now, often when things come to us and they don't fit our paradigm, we often think, oh, it's a problem, it's a trial, it's a hassle. But as we continue, this is our last series today on this book, and it's just really been a wonderful journey. But this is what Paul Selig says about trials. What a trial really is a set of circumstances that has been designed to light you up in order for you to dismantle the behaviors that created it to begin with. If you approach the trial as an opportunity for growth and an opportunity for your learning, you will have a magnificent experience with it to the extent that you don't allow yourself to go into fear. You don't allow yourself to go into fear. So imagine losing one's job. And we approach it as, this is a learning experience, or this is an opportunity for great change. In Unity, we say things, we reframe things such as, it's not a problem, but it's an opportunity. But do we really believe and know that when the stuff hits the fan? That's what I want to know, do we? I've shared with you in the past that when I was downsized from the banking industry, I shared with you previously my own fears of being homeless from that situation. And I can tell you that I was filled with anxiety and paralysis that I have never experienced before. And why is this? Because I had a belief system running. And the paradigm within that belief system said, the power and authority came outside of myself. They, whoever they are, had the power. They had the authority. Now, how can I still feel that I'm worthy when they have chosen to terminate my employment and no longer value what I contribute to their organization? If I stayed in that paradigm that I came in with, I wouldn't have been able to transform that. To be able to transform that, I needed to look at my belief system and shift that paradigm so that now it's a transformational experience. I've really come to embrace and celebrate that the power is within me, the authority is within me. And because of that, I'm probably on my 7th career at this moment, which allows me to explore and become a Unity minister. Now, if I was still in that paradigm, there's no way I could have gotten here. So shifting our paradigms are really important to us. Now, as some of you are getting to know me, you'll realize that I don't always shift gracefully. Usually when something happens and I get hit in the face with it, I have that, what the French toast moment, right? The nice thing is that now it shifts quite quickly, and I'm able to look at how does this support me. What I want to share with you are the tools that I use when I'm in that not graceful shift. The first thing I do is I check in my body, what am I feeling? For example, if I am feeling fear, I feel it. I don't explain it away, I don't justify it, I don't rationalize it, I don't deny it, I just feel it. It is just a feeling. The next thing that I do is I breathe. And I meditatively release my thoughts. Meditatively release my thoughts, which then allows me to align myself with the Christ presence. Now, I'm in alignment. Guess what? I am now in my wisdom. I am now in my knowing. So I am not doing reactionary decision-making from fear. I am now in my allness, making decisions at a higher vibration. And if I'm making decisions at a higher vibration, you better believe that I am transforming that situation. Now, as I continue growing in my work, because I have not arrived, I share that with you quite regularly. I am on a spiritual journey. And I know, because I have seen it in my process, that the more that I align myself with the Christ frequency, the quicker I will be able to do the shifts. So, I want to talk about the paradigm. What does Selig say about this? This is part of the creation of the new consciousness that you are beginning to inhabit. Because you can't inhabit the new consciousness to the extent that you are operating from old paradigms. And what we are discussing right now is a paradigm, and a shift in paradigm from approval to freedom. From ignorance of your actions into knowing what you need from a higher plane. Really powerful, moving from the need for approval to freedom. Most of our paradigms are motivated by our need for approval. It starts when we're really little. We get that A in whatever subject it is. That's getting approval. And many of you know the quote from Albert Einstein, which says, "We can't solve problems by using the same thinking which created the situation." And for us, in this situation, what it means is that we have to step out of our need for approval to be able to step into our consciousness. We cannot be seeking approval and being divine consciousness. They're opposite, they're polarities. You with me? Mm-hmm. Okay. So when we look at the paradigms that operate our world, the question is, what are you aligning yourself to? Are you aligned to the status quo? Are you aligned to your race? Are you aligned to your gender? Are you aligned to being very comfortable as the way things are right now? When we talk about alignment, I turn to Selig again, and it says here, when you manifest the Creator in a situation, when you become aware of the presence of the Christ in a situation, the situation is transformed. you understand this metaphorically. We can say, yeah, I get it, but you don't get it until you get it. And this is what you want to get. When you understand that the Creator's action, the word in action, is present in a situation, you can move that situation. We always have choices. We have the choice to align to our divine self and our higher frequency, or we can choose to align to our ego and approval seeking. And I have to tell you, if we align from our ego, most of the time that is from fear. So what are you going to align to? The time is now to release the fears. The time to embrace our truth, our power, and realizing that each of us is an aspect of the Creator is now. But how do we start to consciously shift our paradigms? We start by being the frequency of love. We start by being the frequency of love. Love is being of and as the Creator, God, love, light, whatever you want to call it. It's not a feeling. Love is not a feeling. It is God in action, the universe in action, a frequency. And being the frequency of love, it shifts us from believing in separation to knowing we are all one, even if it doesn't look like that by our eyes. By conveying love to all we meet, we affirm our oneness. And the ascended teachers have even suggested that we say the phrase, I am word through the one before me. I am one through the, I am word through the one before me. And when you hear the word, I want you to kind of do a translation, God in action. I am God in action through the one before me. I am God in action through the one before me. So we live in a time where it seems that adversarial politics and debates are the norm. But we don't have to make someone evil, bad, or wrong if they disagree with us. We can see their divinity. We can send them love while knowing our own truth. Loving someone and seeing our oneness doesn't mean that we ignore or accept behaviors that are not in alignment with our truth either. It simply means that we bless them as we release them to continue on their own spiritual journey. And I think this is a really important concept right now as we look at our political situation here in America. We don't have to hate our politicians. We can see them as divine and moving toward allness, even if it doesn't look like it. Because we are not God. We don't have the right to judge them. So we see them as divinity. And that does not stop us from taking action. Voting, from having dialogues, from doing sacred activities, sacred action that then changes the world to what we really want it to be, a world that works for all. So love and action are not exclusive. And sometimes we get confused by that here in Unity. If we're fluffy and we love something, we just kind of keep holding that space. And while that's nice, that's half of it. The other piece is then we step out and do what is ours to do. So love is not passivity. Love is the action of the universe in the world. And the time to be love in the world is now. So you'll notice that throughout this talk I've been saying about time being now. And I say this because the only place that we have access to work on anything is now. We can't change the past. We can't change the future. All we have is right now. That's where our power lies. Go into Selig again. The construct of time is flexible to the extent that you create through your consciousness with an understanding that time is flexible. When you believe that everything happens now, everything can be healed now. Everything is happening now. There is no other time. There has never been any other time. There never will be. It is now. It is now. It is now. The power is in the now. And we get several moments in the now to make choices. In this now moment, do we choose to express ourselves as our highest form or not? In this now moment, do we choose to love others and be the frequency of love or not? In this now moment, we get to choose to heal our body, our minds, our relationships, or not. The power and change is right here, right now. And one last quote from Selig. Time actually moves much beyond the structures that you have imposed on it. But for our purposes in this writing and transcription, we will say to you this. Your experience of time can change today only in that you realize that it is a limitation and nothing more. Time is a limitation and nothing more. When you ascribe to the belief that you are free of time in a real way, you align to the next level of frequency. And the reason of this fact is, simply put, you have limitlessness at your fingertips. And you decide that it is accessible to you. And suddenly, you can begin to experience the world anew. So, when anybody says to you, do you know what time it is? What are you going to say? Now. Oh my God, you guys listen to me. It's wonderful. Thank you. So I'm going to invite Michael back up to close this out, and I really thank you.